And good evening, good evening, good evening. If you're looking at my face, you know what time it is. It's time to basically understand that, hey, you got your game face on. I'm Richard the Razor Ewing. The gentleman next to me is Matt None the Wise Wiser. And we got a special show today. You're probably thinking, Rich, you're probably going to come with a draft, show, and you're absolutely correct. I am not going to disappoint. We're doing a draft show because the Niners just got through their draft. They picked, the ultimate pick, which some of us were dreaming about, but they actually did it. And we got a special guest tonight, the great Patrick Willis. I call him the Stealth because, man, this guy, man, you talk about, and we're going to get into that. But, man, you know me, when I start the show, I got to go with the questions.
Hit them.
So if you're trying to figure out how to put together that premier salad with extra olive oil, you're on the wrong podcast. And if you're trying to figure out which chair is actually going to match that living room set that you set up in your new place, you're on the wrong podcast. However, if you're trying to get insight into sports in the San Francisco Bay Area, you just put your GameFace on. And if you're trying to get in sports on a national level, once again, you put your GameFace on. Welcome. As I said before, I am Richard the Razor Ewing. He's Matt None the Wiser Wise. Today, this is a great show, man. Look, you people should appreciate this. We got the great Patrick Willis here, man. This guy, oh my goodness, what he did on the field, man. I mean, by the time he got done, the offense was like, what just happened? Patrick, it is a pleasure to have you. Thank you for coming on with us. And yeah, I'm ecstatic. I know Matt's ecstatic. We're both ecstatic, man. This is great.
I'm ecstatic. Former first round pick in the number 11 pick in the first round, and I was before pre-show. I got a chance to just fan out with Patrick and really just explain why it was just so beautiful to watch Mr. Willis play football, because he just did it the right way. He did it at a high level of character, high level of integrity. And you try to beat that man to the sideline. It ain't happening. Future Hall of Famer in my book. And Patrick, I went through the list with my best friend, Josh Okonya, in preparation for this show. And I go, man, he's got to be one of the greatest linebackers to ever put on a San Francisco 49er uniform. And then I went down the list. And don't get me wrong, there was some excellent. We talked about the history of the game, just some premier linebackers. And no disrespect to any of them from a guy that couldn't do it. But in my opinion, Patrick, you're probably the greatest linebacker to put on the Niners uniform. So I'm so happy to have you. I'm stoked, buddy.
Man, I'll tell you something. He was a beast, man. This guy, look, I'm not playing. Look, these offenses went in going, we're going to San Francisco? Really? Patrick Willis is on the defense. That's what they were thinking. Okay. It's like, can we renegotiate that contract? So Patrick, we basically have come to the cusp of the reality of the draft, and we've seen really just an amazing pick by San Francisco. There was talk this week that they were going to go with Mac Jones. Mac Jones was the guy, and personally, they fooled me too, because I thought they were going to go with Justin Fields. Now, Matt had them going with Trey Lance. And I told him, I said last week before they picked, I said, look, I'm not mad at that if they go with Trey Lance, because Trey Lance is a great pickup. No question about it. And the reason why is because you want to see the Niner offense get to a point where they start using the progression of where the league is going. And when we look at the quarterbacks, we have to agree the stand in the pocket quarterback is totally being phased out. The mobile quarterback is becoming more of a significant, piece in the NFL's offense. Is that something that you saw as well?
Well, first, Rich and Matt, I'd like to say I appreciate you guys for having me on, and you guys know how to intro guys, so I appreciate that. as far as the pick, the quarterback pick, as far as I hear people talking about him being a pocket passer. I didn't get a chance to watch him a whole lot, but what I did see was he could be mobile, meaning that he may not be a very elusive guy or a guy that's going to maybe get out there and kill you with maybe speed and quickness, but he's tall and I feel like he can move around just enough, which makes him the perfect size and quarterback and the perfect guy for that position, prime for it, outside of Trevor Lawrence. So I mean, I feel like they got a very nice pick in this young fella. Especially if he comes in with that hunger we all think that he should have inside. So
Right.
I have a question. I have a question for Patrick, and I want to get to the ad read after it, but I want to ask this question of Patrick is, we talk about mobile quarterbacks and we talk about quarterbacks, when we say mobile, we're thinking getting out of the pocket or in the plays breaking down or, that they can extend the play. What is there to be said about quarterbacks that are mobile in the pocket that can actually, you get them off their, as a defense, you're trying to get the quarterback off his spots, right? But a quarterback like Tom Brady that can move in the pocket and get to a new spot to throw. How would you see that still as valuable, not necessarily just being a quarterback that can get around the edge?
Oh man, very, very, very much so. And reason why is because after a while, it's like anything. If you know a guy can, if you know a guy's strength, meaning if he really likes to run more than pass, then you kind of start setting up defenses where you say, all right, let's flush him on a certain side and make him, have to go against what he actually likes to do, which the same kind of goes with the pocket passer. But what I like about pocket passers and the ones that can move a little bit, and like you mentioned, Tom Brady is that they're very tall, and so therefore they can see over the line, and so it takes a whole lot. You either have to get a nice blitz or a nice you have to pretty much get a nice blitz on whatnot, or else other than that, he's able to see over the top. And if he's very instinctual or he knows where he's going with it, man, it could be a long day. So, and I think this guy has the height and he has the mobility to be able to move in the pocket and still be able to make plays.
I'm legit, Richard and Patrick. I legit have had goosebumps right now just listening to Patrick break down what he's trying to do defensively and talking football. It's a dream come true. It's a dream come true that I am now willing to go out and put my life savings at betonline.ag that next year, because correct me if I'm wrong, you got into the College Hall of Fame this last year, correct, Patrick?
It was
2019.
It was the year before, so it was 2020, I believe it was.
Congratulations on that.
2019, yeah.
2019, congratulations.
Congratulations on that. And now I'm taking all my money because I've been talking X and O's with the greatest linebacker ever. I'm putting it there, ever, Patrick Willis. I'm putting all my money that he's going to the Hall of Fame, and I'm going to do that at Bet Online. It's the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Bet Online has you covered for all news, scores, and odds. It's the best way to place your bets, and it's free. So I encourage you, head over to the website betonline.ag or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, your sportsbook experts. You heard it here. Put all your money on this man, Patrick Willis, getting in the Hall of Fame, because it's got to happen. If it doesn't, it's a travesty, in my opinion.
I have no disclaimer to that.
Yeah.
I liked it though. I liked it. It sounded good.
But I have confidence in you because you deserve it. You deserve it. And you look at the linebackers that have gone in before you. We talk about the history of the game. You are a rival to none, man. And I read an article today that was doing the comparison of you to Ray Lewis. And I have to imagine for you that has to feel good.
I'm very, very grateful again for those guys who came before me that I was able to watch that inspired me to be an even better linebacker. And so anytime you mention in the same sentence as guys such as Ray Woodnot, like you can't help but smile and feel like you've done something pretty decent. So
Yeah, the thing that I want to touch on is that I was looking at your stat sheet on Pro Football Reference, and one of the things that
Those mean nothing. Stats, in my opinion, a lot of things mean nothing. Watching a dude play on the field and what he does and disrupts the game is beautiful. But stats, I get the stats part of it. And his stats, Patrick does have the stats, man.
yeah, he does. And see, that's the reason why we kind of feed off each other, me and Matt. We kind of do this, so. But one of the things that stuck out is that it stated that you had 950 combo tackles. But the stat that stuck out to me was that you had 733 solo tackles. And I thought, okay, this guy's been in the league 7 years. So that you're basically saying to me, this guy hit 100 tackles every single year he was there, or he combined more than 100 for 2 years at some point. That is an amazing stat. That basically means that whenever an offense got on the field with you, okay, they expected to get hit. That was it. It was just, there was no ifs, ands, or maybes. It was like, okay, look, I'm gonna watch it. That was it. I'm running back. It was, that was kind of the way it was. So, and I was thinking, man, you had 8 INTs, and in those 8 INTs, you had 131 yards. You scored twice, but I mean, like I say, you're a linebacker, and people think that when you score, that's everything. But it's like in defense, it's different. And I know, Patrick, because I played defense. I was a linebacker myself. Okay, I understand you. Understand you. Okay?
Hey, yo, I was the nose guard just clogging the hole so you guys can find that gap, bro.
That's it. I understand you. My assignment was 5 yards in the flat. If you came over there, man, I'm like, okay, look, you know what? That's not the for it. All right, and I'm personal, but it's about to get mean in here. So I'm thinking, look.
But Patrick has something. I see it.
No. It was something you had said, but I'm gonna let Richard finish that.
I'm just thinking 733 tackles, man. That's an incredible stat.
733 car crashes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, you know what? I mean, they were, but car crashes that I embraced, and you have to embrace. And I learned a long time ago. Probably, I think it was in the 6th grade. Mm-hmm. It was my first year playing regulation football, and I remember by the time the first part it was only 7 games, 7 weeks. First part of the season, man, them older 8th grade, we the scout team guys in the 6th grade, and they run away. I mean, they crushing us, man, hitting us hard. And I'm thinking to myself, or like almost like bullying in a sense,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I said to myself, I was like, man, you know what? I think it was about the 5th week of the season, so 2 weeks left. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of this, man. I'm tired of them hitting me like when they want to hit me. I said, I'm gonna start hitting them. I'm gonna make them not like me, or make me say I need to turn it down. And so it was ever since then. You know what? I'm gonna take it to I'm gonna be the hammer and not the nail. And so that was the mindset. But to what I would say to you, Matt, speaking about nose guard, and as much as I am grateful for the individual stats and just the stats are stats. I would say sometimes if they only looked at us based off our stats, if they went outside the stats and looked at the game, some guys would be Hall of Fame without stats or not, because of the way they play the position. They may not have always had guys throw the ball their way. They were just so technical that you'd be like, no, let's go somewhere else. So it looks bad on the stat sheets, but if you look at them, throughout the game, they grade out week in and week out at a high level, and that's what you would want if you was looking at a guy, and you want him to make plays too. But so anyways, so what I would get at is to all that, I would say I was very grateful to have come in with with a defensive coach, a linebacker coach, and Coach Mike Singletary, as well as the defensive coordinator that I had, and also the defensive line that we had, and we worked together a whole lot. And one of the things I would say that really helped me was the unity that we had amongst the front seven, and how we truly work together, and us working together, being able to keep the defense tight and not, way out there, especially in the run game, because a lot of people don't realize that my first four seasons in the league, we didn't give up 100-yard rushing. Now we couldn't win no games, and we was breaking 500 and below 500, but we never gave up a 100-yard rusher, and that was due to, again, just a heck of a nose guards and a Brio Franklin and some other guys, and then just I could go on, but shout out to the defensive linemen. We can't forget you guys.
It is
Love
funny.
it. Love
It's
it.
funny.
If you guys, hold on. If you ever listening, if you love the breakdown from Patrick Willis, he's got a project he's working on, coachtube.com. That's COACHTUBE.com. If you like what Patrick's laying down, I'm sure there's a lot more of that and a lot more on there. I'm going to go check it out as a coach, because you can never have too much information. So Patrick Willis, coachtube.com. Go check it out. I want to make sure I plug that before anything else.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something, Patrick, you were talking about, you saying, the stats and then also the mechanics that are actually on the field. And I get you. I understand exactly what you're talking about. You talked about guys like Brio Franklin. I remember him. When you're actually playing, it's the unit that actually makes things happen. Don't get me wrong. There's certain features of the game where you will stand out because of what's going on, but everybody collectively as a unit makes a lot of what happens there happen. And I remember, when I was playing it, I was able to get certain things, but I was able to get those things because these other guys on the other side of me, they were doing what they were doing, and they were shutting down the receiver kinetic. So the quarterback, he had to change what he was doing. And when he changed, by that time, the running backs and receivers, they were out of sync, and they throw it before you know it, I grabbed something out the air. You know what I mean? And it's like people look at me and say, "Oh man, that was great." No, you don't get it. It was great because these guys on the other side were doing their jobs. That's the reason why it happened. Otherwise, any other situation happens, no. If they don't do their job, the play goes another direction. So in that respect, you're absolutely correct. I want to talk about some of the 49ers free agent signings. Some of these signings, you look and you think to yourself, okay, and they didn't really cover these signings. They just it was kind of pushed under the rug a bit. I was like, wow, man, some of these signings, you look and go, well, wait a minute, some of these guys could stand out. I mean, they picked up a linebacker, Elijah Sullivan from Kansas State. They picked up a wide receiver, Austin Watkins, who apparently is related to the great Sammy Watkins out of UAB. Okay. They picked up another linebacker, Justin Hilliard from the Ohio State, right? Okay. And they also picked up tight end Josh Peterson at Louisiana Monroe. And the last one I just talked about out of Louisiana Monroe is that these are names that right now, we're just kind of filtering through our minds. I'm bringing them up. But either one of these names could be the diamond in the rough. And now,
give those guys a chance. Give those boys a chance to get on the field and show them what they can do.
Because we think about this. Jerry Rice, he's the GOAT, right? Come on. But where did he come out of? Mississippi Valley State. It's like, when's the last time a great player came out of Mississippi Valley State? He's the only one, I think. But it does help you to appreciate that when these signings happen, it's like the team and the progression of the team tends to reflect really what's happening on the actual field. And Patrick, I was wondering if you could share something like that with us that you've seen in your time, where you saw this guy who didn't have a big name, all of a sudden now he's on the starting lineup, and you're like, wow, okay, this guy actually turned out to be okay.
Yeah. You know what God comes to mind when we're speaking about just whether it be free agents or undrafted guys is a guy named Mike Wilhoit, number 57.
Okay.
He had to be he's one of the best teammates that I've ever played with in all my years of playing sports. And he was a guy that he wasn't drafted, but man, his work ethic, the way he came to work every day, his attitude, his just his mentality. It was almost like sometimes you wish you had that kind of mentality in every. I felt like if I was a coach, I want that kind of mentality in every guy I draft, but especially in my first and second and third and fourth. I mean, every guy. So Mike Will remind me of a guy because he was a guy that, whether it was me at times, when I had an injury here or there or something like that, that he came in and did what he was supposed to do as a starter or whatnot. And then, I mean, he was a special teams guy. He was a guy that I would call like my X, my X factor, a guy that and wasn't drafted, but yet he played an important role on the football team.
Wow.
Ace in the hole right there. That's Patrick's ace in the hole. You heard it here first.
Okay, on GameFace, baby, on GameFace.
I felt it just did.
Hey, Patrick, I have a question for you. So, we have this situation now where you have the veteran quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, who's taken the team to the Super Bowl and was a short few minutes away from getting the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, injuries have put him out a couple of times the last few years. And now you have a stud coming in. And I'm not sure, I can't think of a time maybe in your career where you may have or were pushed by a rookie coming in or some guy being signed or whatnot. But as a professional, I think it's the same mindset. What's the number one? What's the motivation for a guy like Jimmy, who's got a guy behind him trying to take his job? How do you motivate yourself to be better than you've ever been? And secondly, as a pro, like, what is that like? That kind of that feeling. What's Jimmy kind of going through right now?
Yeah. I would say first it would have to be something about you just have to have self-pride, and what I mean by that is like is you have to ask yourself like, what kind of teammate do I want to be? How do I want to be remembered? Do I want to be remembered as this selfish teammate that that didn't help the guy because I felt like the team should have been this way or that way, which it doesn't seem like he's going to be that way at all because they say he's already reached out. And as far as just the mentality, I would say for him would be to really just focus on what he can control, and that's right now he is the starter. He has the number one spot, and I've always said this, make it make it where it's you cannot be denied. Like the coaches have, man, you performing so well, like you competing so well, like you throwing the ball so well that they like, man, I know we got to get him in, but let's just let him ride this out, and maybe he gets this season and he's healthy, and Big Trey, he learns behind him, and I'm sure he'll get some snaps and stuff, but don't there's no need to throw him out there to the wolves right now or whatnot. But again, back to Jimmy, I feel like he has the right kind of mindset, and I feel like he's the kind of teammate that in this certain kind of circumstances or whatnot that he can handle this very well. So
I love that, Patrick. And you're a humble guy, so but I think every player needs to have it in them where it's like, I'm the freaking best. I don't care who you drafted. It don't matter. I'm the best. He's going to have to beat me to take my spot. And I know that you're a humble guy, but I think, on that football field, you're a different man, and you have a different mindset and mentality, and it's not a meager, meek, humble dude. It's, I'm going to get mine because I'm the baddest man on this field. Do you have to have a little bit of that self-confidence or ego, I think?
Yeah, you do. And that's one of those things that's funny you saying that because, think about it that at this level, somebody once asked me what was the difference between college and the pros. And I was like, listen, in college, they got scholarships. So they're like, yeah, I'm just, I'm going to get my degree. Then, when I'm done here, I'm going to go get a job. But when you're at the NFL, that is your job. And and I learned very fast. And for me, it was always kind of early on, especially growing up in the South, the way I grew up at it. Whatnot, you had to be tough and go get it. That's your cousins, and so they had to all take it from you and whatnot. But it was one of those things where you had to, ask yourself, how bad do I want it? How bad do I want it?
No, go ahead.
That's it. You just
Okay.
sometimes you just gotta keep it as simple as that. Just ask yourself like, how bad do I want this? And again, the mentality of I will not be denied. So
Uh-huh.
So this is the thing. We were talking about it before the show came on, and this is our 49er draft show officially. And we talked to you about the fact that the Niners did go with Trey Lance. They also uh, took in the fifth round Talanoa Hufanga from USC. He's a safety. They took, which the one guy I'm keeping my eye on is Trey Sermon, 6'1", 215-pound running back out of Ohio State.
Hey,
And
we
then
got Trey Square now. Trey Squared in the
yeah,
house.
yeah,
We
we
got a
do. Yeah,
quarterback and running
we've got
back.
two Treys now. You're right. Then we got Eli Mitchell from Louisiana. He's also a running back. So you've been through this, okay? You've gone through the whole thing of being drafted, and a lot of people just kind of figured, well, you know what? He's in the NFL now, so we don't have to worry about what's going to happen. And I'm saying that from a perspective of the armchair quarterback who's sitting at home watching the draft, and people who are spectators who actually don't play the game. Kind of take us into an idea of what that's like.
you just I mean as far as just I was trying to follow your question. Or were you asking like the naysayers, like just all the people that that's speaking on the people that are being drafted? You mean?
Well, I
Yeah,
was
because there's
thinking,
tons of analysts out there that are going,
yeah,
"Oh,
there
this
is,
guy's
there
the
is,
greatest
but
thing."
I was thinking more of just the transitioning, you know, from coming from college to being drafted to now you're in the NFL. What is that whole thing like?
Oh, just for me, it was a quick. I mean, your mentality in college, I already feel like you kind of already are professional. You maybe an amateur
Mhm.
professional, and then like I said, when you get to that level now, for me, it was the transition had to be. Um, Man, I guess maybe it's different for each person, but for me, it was simply I want to be a bust. I will not be a bust. And again, it was something that I asked myself a long time ago. I was like, well, I told myself, I was like, it's not going to be enough just to get to the NFL, just like it wasn't enough just to get to college and be like, yeah, I played a little college ball. No, when you talk about college football, I want you to remember that number 49 that played at Ole Miss because of the way that I played the game. And so I've just always kind of had that mentality that I just want to leave a place better than I found it type of mentality. And the only way to do that is you got to light it up. You got to give them something that they can remember, or else, it's going to be very hard, as we were saying before. It's just like it's real easy to forget things these days. So you gotta do something to make the people remember. You got to do something to give them a thrill. And I only know one way to do that, and that's going out and, man, just, giving everything you got. And in return, hoping that you put enough plays together that, it's like I said, when you're done one day, that maybe they can say an encore or something of that sort.
Hey, Patrick. Patrick, we talked pre-show, and you mentioned, if you could just, by the way you played the game, and the way you carried yourself, if you could reach one person, you're happy, you'd be happy, right? And I want to sit here and say, hey man, the way you played the game, you reached me. And I know a lot of people say, well, we shouldn't look up to athletes as role models, or we shouldn't put athletes on a pedestal. And I think there is something to be said to that. But in your case, you're exactly who you portrayed yourself to be on and off the field. And I'm just,
Don't put too much. Don't put too
no,
much pressure on.
I'm not, man. But what I do want to say is, like, there's kids out there that don't have maybe a father figure at home. There's kids out there that probably don't have a good home situation. And the only people they can look up to is their favorite athlete or their favorite linebacker. And I want to thank you for that, man. I want to thank you for the way you did it. And I want to ask you, I coach Little League, and some of these kids, they're afraid to get in there and swing the bat against live pitching. And I got kids on my team that are football players, and sometimes they're afraid to get hit, like you were saying. And you said, I want to deliver the punishment, not get hit. What's the best piece of advice for a young athlete out there today?
As let's say, in order to take 1,000 steps, you got to take one first. And what I mean by that is that the only way you're gonna really find out what you really made of is, it's easy to say on the outside and be like, it looks like it's gonna hurt. I may not like it, but do it, have the experience for yourself, and then let yourself be able to say, you know what, I tried this and it was not for me. Then someone told me the other day, they was talking about fear or something it was, and someone said that fear to them was um, trying, it was them trying something and realizing that this is why they don't like it, opposed to just sitting on the outside and being afraid of it or whatnot. I said, get in it, experience it, and then find out for yourself that it's not for you. So um, again, if you're going to take 1,000, if you're going to take 1,000 steps, you can't get there without taking the first one. And in anything that you do, you got to go at it and you got to be serious about it, or else like just somebody else will pass you by, or somebody else is more serious will hit you and make you feel like they're more serious than you, and it's only because they just got more grit and they wanted more. So yeah, it's the mindset for sure.
I love that. I love that. And you can guarantee I am going to share that with my kids. I told them today at practice that I was going to get a chance to talk to you, and they're like, their eyes, I mean, these are 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds, and they know you, man. Much respect to you, brother.
Well, I'll tell you something. To your point, Patrick. A wise man once said that imagination is your first thought. Execution is the first step of many experiences. So, to your point, you were able to do what you were able to do on the field because you wanted it. So that was the one thing I when I watched you play, I thought this guy wants it. This guy, he is relentless. This guy, he is just okay. He wants it. He wants success. He wants the ability to prove to everybody out there, week in and week out, that he is the best linebacker we have ever seen. And that's what I got from watching you. So it was like when I had the opportunity to get you on here today, I thought, wow, this is. And I'm telling you, eyeballs are going to be on this show. Okay, I already know. I'm telling you, these people are going to see this show. They're going to go, wait a minute, you got Patrick Willis on the yeah. How did you do that? I said, I don't know. but I will say this much that first of all, it has been a pleasure having you on. We do gotta say goodbye. Our 30 minutes has come to an end. As
Patrick, man, it was too short. You come back on with us sometime in the future.
Man, I'm gonna have to find a way to get back on here sometime, and most definitely love to chat with you guys again. It was an amazing chat, and it's now I just thought about it again. I know we gotta get off real quick, Richard, but Matt, I would say to the young guys is unity, work ethic, and unity. You gotta have that work ethic. You gotta be willing to work for that which you say you want, and you have to. And in football, you have to do it together. You only as strong as the weakest link and whatnot. So it means that you gotta pick each other up, and no matter who it may be or whatnot. So yeah, that's
okay. All right.
You were picking up those linemen your entire career, getting sideline to sideline, because they go, oh, if it breaks down, I know P. Willie's behind me to clean it all up. Hey, check this man out, CoachTube.com. All the great advice. It's got drills. What else has got on there, Patrick? Real quick.
Yeah, so CoachTube is an online coaching platform. Right now, it's a very heavy coach-to-coach platform where they can do virtual sharing of information. So it's a platform that, especially if you're a coach, you can go in there if you want to learn some X and O's, learn about, the air raid, which is the hot offense these days, that spread offense. You can go in there and learn that. Then there's defenses on there. Then there's, there's lineman drills. There's even the Build a Beast, one-on-one on there. So it's just the beginning stages, and hopefully, some more could be coming soon. But yeah, it's pretty dope, and it's only gonna get better. So you
All right.
guys could,
.com.
Okay, so there you go. CoachTube.com. And you have been listening to the great, the one and only Patrick the Stealth Willis. And I am Richard the Razor Ewing. He is Matt, none the wise wiser. And you have been listening to GameFace. You can come in. You can put your feet up. You can even have a drink. But if you do, you better have your GameFace on.
yeah.
Yeah.